us to go over hour. Thank you, Josh, for starting the recording. So hi, everyone. Thank you for coming to our webinar. My name is Alyssa Stansfield, and I am a postdoc at Colorado State University in the Department of Atmospheric Science. I'm also a member of the AGU Atmospheric Science Section Early Career Committee. And so on behalf of the Atmospheric Science Early Career Committee, the Hydrology Section Student Subcommittee, the Global Environmental Change Early Career Representatives, Ocean Sciences representatives, and also the Paleo Climate Early Career Working Group. We've all worked together to kind of create this webinar for you. This is meant for first-time attendees, well, really useful for anyone, but really aimed at first-time attendees to the AGU annual meeting. So this is a guide for students and early career scientists. We are planning to go for about an hour here. Please ask questions in the chat. We're going to try to answer your questions as much as we can. I am going to present the first half of the slides, and then, Maddie from Ocean Sciences is going to do the second half. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and get started. So this is pretty basic information, but this year the AGU annual meeting is in the Moscone Convention Center in San Francisco, California. It is happening, the scientific sessions are happening from December 11th to 15th, although there are some events that happen beforehand, and we'll talk about it a little later, but this year there are some things happening in January 2024 as well. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. If you haven't registered yet, early bird registration rates end on November 2nd, so probably do that soon. And then also the deadline to book housing in hotels through the AGU website is November 15th. So should also get on that as well if you haven't done that. The format of this meeting is going to be hybrid, so there are both in-person and virtual attendance options. And so I'm going to for this slide, I'm just going to hand it over to Rosa Maimi, who is going to talk about this new program this year, the AGU Flight School. So go ahead, Rosa.
Thanks, Alyssa. Hi, everybody. I'm Rosa Maimi. I'm Director of Engagement and Membership at AGU. Been with AGU for a couple of years now and work on a number of things, including our membership work. So some of you may have heard of this. I'm curious because you all are the exact target audience for this. We've been sending out some marketing for this flight school. Before I describe it, if you can raise your hands, has anyone seen this, been invited to it, and signed up for it? Just out of curiosity. Oh, I see one hand. Yay. Two hands. Terrific. I'm looking forward to seeing you. Okay, so let me tell you what this is about. So AGU is really looking at the value of membership. We haven't really done it in a long time in terms of doing some deep work with membership research. We've been working since last year with members and with a consultant to really get a sense of what the needs are around membership. And where we've kind of started is we're going to have what we found in the research has gotten us to this point, which is to do this thing called AGU Flight School at AGU23 in San Francisco. So it's a pilot program. It's an in-person experience for student early career AGU members within, I think we're saying 3 years of terminal degree, a way to materialize your early career goals. It's open exclusively to first-time students and early career attendees of AGU23. Those of you who are in that kind of category should have gotten a series of emails. But I am going to put something in the chat here. That is the link to this, and you can see the URL also on the slide. This is the link to the landing page to sign up. So there'll be some pre-conference meet and greets that will happen before you get to AGU23, some cohort kind of meeting and understanding what we'll be doing at AGU23. There's going to be specialized conference representatives that you can connect with. There'll be ways to pull together a development plan that for 2024, we're calling that the flight plan. You can see that there is a definite trend here. And you will, when you're there, you will be able to put together a passport that will help you identify some things that you do at AGU23. But we really wanted to have an experience for folks who are new to the meeting and really aligning with Lauren and her team in terms of really helping folks have a warm welcome, but also kind of find out what the value of membership is for these folks as well, and do a little bit of research with you all. So we hope you'll sign up if you haven't already. If you have some questions, I'm going to stick my email address in the chat. But I know you all have a lot to talk about here, but this is the audience, this group that we're reaching out to. So that's why we wanted to really come on this call and this webinar and make sure you were aware of this and participate if you're eligible. There should be about 400 people who are part of this pilot. We're not quite there yet, but we're getting close, over 300 signups. So please sign up soon. And I'll stop there. Thank you.
Great. That sounds really awesome. Quick question. Tess asked, is the program free or is there a cost?
It is totally free, and you just need to be eligible in the pilot group that we're trying to do the research with.
Great. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, that sounds really helpful. And yeah, perfect complement to our little webinar here today. So I'm really glad you're able to come. Yeah, and as Rosa said, you know, she's going to post her email. And also, if you have any questions, I think she's going to be here for the rest of the webinar. So please post them in the chat. Okay. Moving on. So there are traveling to San Francisco. There's quite a few different options. The two closest airports is the San Francisco International Airport, SFO, or Oakland International Airport, OAK, is a little bit further, but not too much further from downtown. And if you do fly in, there is something called the Bay Area Rapid Transit, or BART, it's abbreviated. And that is kind of like their subway system there, and it can get you from either of the airports into downtown San Francisco. There's also options to take the bus or the train. There's an Amtrak train that gets you into Oakland, and then you can transfer to a bus to get to San Francisco. So quite a few options with traveling. If you are flying, AGU does offer a discount to people who fly with United. If you travel between December 8th through 18th, you just have to, when you're booking your flight, you have to put in this code that's on the slide here in the promotions box. This code, we are going to share these slides and this information with everyone afterwards, so you don't have to write it down right now. And this information is also on AGU's website on the travel page for the conference. There's also other kind of support you can get. So if you do need subsidized childcare while you're at the meeting, they are running this Camp AGU program where it's kind of, like a daycare for anyone who needs to bring their kids or wants to. And so the advanced registration deadline is November 13th. So that's coming up. The atmospheric science section also offers caregiving awards. So you can get up to $500 to put towards caregiving needs. And you can get this even if you're attending virtually or in person. These applications are due October 31st. And the only stipulation is you have to have atmospheric science listed as your primary AGU section on your membership. There's also this student volunteer program. So you get free conference registration for volunteering for 8 hours at the conference. So this applications for this close on November 2nd. So if you are a student, this seems like a great opportunity to get free registration. There are also student travel grants. Unfortunately, the applications close every year in August. So it's too late for this year, but if you are going to be a student next year and planning on attending again, just remember that there is travel grants. You just have to apply before August. Okay. So now we have a couple slides about safety at the AGU annual meeting. So I'm going to go over this slide, and then I see Lauren Parr is here. So when I go to the next slide, if you wanted to say a few words, I'll bring you on. So I'll just go through these couple things. So there is something called the Safe AGU program. And this is to protect anyone who feels like harassed or threatened when you're at an AGU meeting. If you see people at the meeting that they wear like these safe AGU buttons, they've been trained to help people who feel unsafe or experience inappropriate behavior. So please look out for those people if you need them. AGU is also hiring private security for the convention center with extra security in the big ballroom. The convention staff is also kind of an extra layer of security and support if you need help being directed somewhere, you don't know where to go, they can also help you. We'll also mention that, and this is a good rule to follow whenever you go to a conference. When you're leaving the convention center, you should probably take off your badge or name tag that AGU gives you, just because it shows that you're like unfamiliar with the area and you're a visitor. So it's just a little safer to take it off. It's always good to walk in pairs or groups with other people, kind of use common sense, stay in well-lit areas, be aware of your surroundings. There's a big population of unhoused people in San Francisco, so you just have to be a little careful walking around sometimes. Okay, so next, Lauren, if you want to say a few words about these safety measures.
Sure. Hi, everyone. And thank you so much for letting me touch base with all of you. And certainly if you have questions or comments afterwards, always happy to hear from any of you. So at AGU and at our large meeting, we really are moving a group of people the size of a small city into another city. So our overall goal is to keep everyone safe and to make everyone feel welcome. So we have a whole comprehensive safety and security plan and incident reporting plan that we work on. We work very closely with the city itself, with the local police department. We work with social services in the city. We really want to understand what those issues are that may be driving areas that are less safe. And we want to be able to respond to that. So we're working, we have an ambassadors program. You're going to hear more about that. And we're going to be stationing people on the most walked routes. We're also going to be asking your hotel, wherever you are staying, to tell you the best route to walk and have some maps that are identified where we know we're going to have these ambassadors out on the street. We do have additional foot patrols. We are actually paying for additional security where we have felt that there may be areas that where people may be vulnerable walking. So you're going to see that security very early in the morning, because we know you all are all on the move with us early in the morning and well into the evening. The city has been just an excellent partner in all of this, and we are about to go through some scenario planning with our safety representatives. And once that scenario planning is done, we're going to be very transparent in releasing that information. You will see signage in the center this year that really talks about respectful behavior, what kind of appropriate behavior is acceptable, and what aligns with our meeting's code of conduct. We want everyone to be able to express themselves and engage with each other, but we also want to make sure that that is aligned with our code of conduct. And when you registered, you actually had to initial a couple of different places related to the code of conduct. So a couple of informal things that we're considering is working with all of the hotels and working with our communications to say, if you are in your hotel and you are going to walk to the center, could you leave on the 15? So the 15, the 30, the 45, or the top of the hour. And could people group together in the lobbies and kind of make, you might meet a new friend, you might meet some new colleagues, and you might be a little bit safer or feel more comfortable on your walk. So those types of things we are working on right now on how to communicate and how to implement. We also have a we're really focused actually on our earthquake security plan this year. We didn't have to do one of those in Chicago, but we're updating ours for this year. So we will be communicating much more in our Know Before You Go. That information, and we'll have lots of slides, we'll have lots of information, but we want to make sure that when you come into the center, you can look around, you feel comfortable, you know where to go. You have great colleagues and a great experience. And then when you walk out of the center and you're headed to your hotel room, as Alyssa said, take your badge off, put your phone in your pocket, please, and kind of keep your belongings a little closer to you. Just make sure that you kind of are aware of your surroundings. We see a lot of people walking, looking at their phone like I do, and, you know, kind of holding your phone out and maybe not sure where you're going. It's that kind of behavior that kind of signals to people that you might be an easy target to snatch a phone, which is probably the most common kind of crime that we see in San Francisco. It really is the crime of opportunity. When you're in the center and you're at your poster and you put your bag on the ground, if you walk away to use the restroom or to talk to another colleague, please pick it up. Don't leave your bag. Keep your possessions close to you. It is a city. And if there's anything that we can do, again, you'll have more information coming, but we have multiple groups that are involved in this. This is something that we're talking about every day, something that we talk about every day going into any city. So please reach out. Let us know if you have suggestions or comments, or and when you're on site, if you ever feel unsafe, if you ever need help, please reach out. I mean, absolutely reach out. You can reach us by email, you can reach us at any time, and we will get back to you. And we will have some numbers for you in terms of where to call if you need help, okay? And just one more thing, if you are a more experienced AGU attendee and you meet a new colleague who's never been before and you're out somewhere, we just like to remind you not to leave folks behind, right? So if you could maybe introduce yourself or ensure that that person has a ride back, or maybe walk with them back. Just make sure, when are you leaving? You know, maybe we can walk together. That kind of behavior goes a long way. It certainly makes people feel more welcome. It welcomes people into our community, and it does make people safer. So thank you so much.
Great. Thank you, Lauren. That's such great information. A quick question from Annie in the chat. She's asking, when will the Know Before You Go be released, and what type of media will it be?
The Know Before You Go usually goes out in email, and it comes out about a week prior to travel. So for all of you, that would be probably December 1st or 2nd. We would be releasing that information. We also, though, are considering doing a whole safety video and kind of a recording where anyone can play that, and we can kind of give you very firm guidance about like where to walk, what to do. So that would probably come out in email as a notification and then link back to our website.
Cool. Okay, so be on the lookout for your emails and look on the AGU23 website as well, I'm sure.
Yeah. And council will be receiving all of this information as it comes out, and we're asking them to help distribute. So hopefully that'll be forwarded on as well.
Great. Yeah, and I'm sure all of the early career committees and everyone that's here will try to forward the information that we get.
Absolutely.
Great. So yeah, thank you so much for being here and for all this great information. And that's a great tip again, yeah, about like kind of not leaving anyone behind. I know it's hard to be a first-time attendee at these huge meetings. It's very overwhelming. So just, you know, always be friendly to people. And I think if you see any of the AGU staff or any of us who are the early career representatives and committees like me or Maddie, we're more than happy to walk with you places or introduce you to people. You know, we want to help you guys. So cool. So we have a couple other safety resources. So it's sftravel.com. So this is from the city. This has just a lot of useful information for visiting the city, information about crime rate and kind of routes around the city, areas in the city. So they also have some information, I believe, with the Safety Ambassadors program that kind of walk around the city and I think will help escort people if you're trying to go places. Yeah, and planning out, as I think Lauren kind of mentioned, like planning out your route from the hotel to the conference center, and maybe to like the hotels that you're going to for events. Making sure you kind of know that information in advance is a really important thing to do. So here we have, this is a map of the area in San Francisco where the Moscone Convention Center is located. So it's that yellow star there kind of on the bottom. And so we kind of highlighted some maybe not so great places to go south of the convention center in that red area. And then some better places to go that have a lot of things to do and attractions and food in those green stars. So this is not a definite map of every area, but these are just some general areas that, we've noticed in our time in San Francisco. And so just to give everyone a little primer, if you've heard this concept of like AGU sections, like what is a section? It's basically just how we group the different like science categories almost. And so when you join AGU, you have to mark off what your primary section is. So for example, mine is atmospheric science, but you can also participate in any additional sections that you identify with. There's no like restriction on how many sections you can belong to. You can go to section events for any section. It's just you have to identify one primary section when you sign up as a member. But this is a list of all the sections that are in AGU, so you can see the wide variety. All right, now we're going to talk a little bit about the science of AGU, the different type of sessions. So the main science sessions, where you see all the science presentations, are split up into oral sessions, e-lightning, and posters. I'll talk about those in the next couple slides. There's also town halls. So these are usually like panel or roundtable discussion type events on specific topics. Town halls, you'll see this in the next slide, I think, but town halls happen during the lunch hour and then after the scientific sessions end at night, maybe around like 6 p.m. or something. There's also keynotes and plenaries, which are kind of like big general interest lectures given by leaders in various fields. Those tend to attract a lot of people. And then there's also named lectures, which are lectures given by people who have been given awards. So here is the general daily schedule that happens Monday through Friday. I'll note all these times are Pacific time. And so everything kind of kicks off. Usually there are some events that happen in the morning before 8:30, like breakfasts and networking stuff. But the science sessions at least start at 8:30. And then each day there's 2 big poster sessions, and those start at 8:30 and go until the lunch break. And so there's a morning poster session and an afternoon poster session. As I mentioned, the town halls tend to happen either during lunchtime, so we get a lunch break from 12:50 to 2 o'clock, or they happen after the scientific sessions end from 6:30 to 7:30. So this is the general schedule, just to give you an idea of what happens every day, but you'll be able to build your own schedule in the AGU scientific program, which Maddie is going to talk about in a little bit. So, all right, now I'm going to discuss a little bit about the different science sessions. So there's oral sessions, where these just consist of presentations given by people and question and answer sessions. So they're 90 minutes long. Presenters and attendees can participate in oral sessions in person or online. The only thing is, if you are presenting in an oral session online, you have to pre-record your presentation. And so the conveners of the session are going to play your pre-recorded presentation, but you'll also be live on Zoom to answer questions that people have live as well. So the online presenters are supposed to upload your recorded talks by December 8th at 17 Eastern Standard Time. And then if you're in person and you're giving an oral presentation, you have to upload your slides into like the AGU system in the speaker ready room, which is in the convention center. And so typically they want you to upload them at least 24 hours before your talk time. And so if you have a talk on Monday, I recommend going early if you can, like maybe, I think it is open on Sunday. I'm sure the hours for the speaker ready room will come out closer to the meeting, but I recommend going on Sunday if you have a oral presentation on Monday and just getting your slides uploaded. So the oral sessions are going to be live streamed on Zoom for virtual attendees, and then they'll also be recorded and available for viewing afterwards for a certain amount of time. One tip is that often the timings in the sessions, like people are scheduled to start talking at a specific time, but sometimes things run late or people drop out and things end up happening early. So if you really want to see a particular talk, I recommend going to the session a bit early because you never know how the timing is going to work out. There's also an AGU hosted webinar called Present Your Science, Transforming Technical Talks on Monday, November 13th at 12 o'clock Eastern. And so I posted the link here, and we're going to share these slides so everyone has these links, but you can register for that and get more information on AGU's website. This year, there's also what are known as e-lightning sessions. So these are 90 minutes as well, but they are in person only. So there's no virtual or hybrid e-lightning sessions. They'll all be in person. And so these work, basically, there's a set of speakers, maybe like 10 to 12 speakers. Each speaker gives a 3-minute talk within like an overview of their digital poster, kind of, a lightning talk. And then after all the talks are finished, each of the participants goes to stand by their digital poster, and people are free to come up to them and talk to them, ask them questions about their poster. So it's kind of a hybrid between an oral session and a poster session. So these e-lightning posters get posted to the online poster gallery during the conference and for a limited time after it. So you are able to see these posters, even if you can't make the e-lightning session, they will be in the poster gallery as well. And AGU is doing a demo of the iPoster platform, which is what is used to create virtual posters, on November 9th at 11 a.m. Eastern. Okay, finally, there's the poster sessions. So as I mentioned before, each day has these 2 in-person poster session blocks, one in the morning and one in the afternoon. There will be screens to view online only posters throughout the poster hall. And if you are an in-person poster presenter, you can also make a virtual poster and post it in the online poster gallery if you want to. One thing I'll mention is that, so say you have a poster presentation on Tuesday in the afternoon session, you can go and put your poster up Tuesday morning, because you're going to have a block where your poster is going to go that's designated by a number, and so no one else's poster is going to go there that day. So no matter what, you can go and put your poster up in the morning of the day you're going to present. So there's no hybrid poster sessions. There's the in-person ones happening in December, and then there's going to be online poster sessions in the week of January 20th through 25th, 2024. So anyone who's, I guess, just presenting your poster virtually, you're going to have an opportunity to present your poster in like a session sometime in January. However, if you do want to get your virtual poster to appear in the online gallery during the actual AGU meeting in December, you have to upload it by December 1st. And you might want to consider doing this just because you may have a lot more people view it like during the December meeting, and then maybe email you to ask you questions and come to your poster in January in the virtual session. So I'm sure more information about the online poster sessions is going to be posted as the meeting in January gets closer. But this is something that is new to AGU this year. They've never done this kind of online only poster time in January. So hopefully that works out well. AGU has another webinar called Present Your Science, Powerful Posters on November 14th at 12 o'clock Eastern. So that's a great opportunity to, learn how to translate your science into a nice poster. And we'll also note that the in-person poster hall is pretty overwhelming. It's gigantic and there's so many posters, but they do kind of divide it into neighborhoods of different scientific disciplines. And there's a lot of signs up up in the poster hall to try to direct people to where you want to go as far as the scientific discipline. So we know it's overwhelming in the poster hall, but there are signs, and everyone gets a little confused sometimes in the poster hall, I think. All right, great. Thanks everyone for listening to me. So I'm going to pass it over to Maddie, who's going to present the second half of this webinar.
Thanks, Alyssa. My name is Maddie Meddy, and I'm a postdoc at USGS in St. Petersburg, Florida. The first slide I'm presenting is on virtual attendance. So some people choose not to travel and will be attending entirely virtually through the AGU online platform. And somebody please interrupt me and correct me if I'm wrong, but in-person attendees also have access to the online platform. So if you're feeling sick and need to stay back at the hotel for a day, just rest assured you don't need to miss all the scientific content. Again, not all of the in-person events are going to be hybrid, so you'll miss out on e-lightning sessions, things like receptions and evening activities, of course, and then of course in-person posters. But the online content does cover, the hybrid content is most of the scientific content at the meeting. It's a Zoom webinar, so make sure you're either using your web browser or you have the updated version of the app ready to go. And it's, pretty much we're all well used to Zoom at this point. So good luck, and try to be as participatory as possible. It is perfectly fine to attend virtually, and we'll miss you in person, but that's just how it is. Next slide, please. All right, so one of your main tools for planning your week is going to be the online scientific program. So you log in and you have a schedule that you can create. You can highlight certain events that you want to watch out for. Make sure you do this before the meeting. Poke around, browse around. There's lots of options here. So that toolbar on the left there. For your scientific content, like you'll maybe want to be searching for keywords of the research that you do. You could find a whole session that you're interested in and choose to sit in on a whole session, or maybe you just want to see a certain person talk. You can search for friends or authors that you want to go see present. You can search events by section if you just kind of want to browse around. And one thing that I thought is really useful are suggested itineraries. So there is a suggested itinerary for student and early career attendees, and that has all the, special events that are student and early career focused. In the upper right corner there, that's where you access events that you've scheduled or starred as a favorite. Advance, please. Oh, I also wanted to say, so it's also an app on your phone. So I would suggest visiting the program on your web browser. It's just going to be a lot easier for you to type keywords and tag events. But when you're at the meeting, you'll probably want the app on your phone to view your schedule. It's the same format here, so you'll see the same thing. This is pretty much information I've already said. Again, these buttons you can click to add events to your favorites or add them to your schedule. Next slide, please. All right, these next few slides are just highlighting some of the things you might want to check out throughout the week. So the Career Center programming is an area sort of next to the posters, somewhere in the exhibit hall. It's a large space, and the schedule isn't published yet, but there's going to be various sort of pop-up talks to present to you early career student advice. So some topics there, bold and underline, publication advice, career advice, science communication, Those are all really nice, sort of, you can just stop by and get some information on these sort of career topics. That's a really good resource. Next slide. Okay, these are just screenshots from the online program. Town halls. So these happen over, a little bit after lunch, or it looks like one of them is in the evening. You might want to double check that one, but these actually don't show up in the suggested itinerary. So I pulled these out because you might want to look there for certain events. I don't know if they'll eventually be updated to be included in that itinerary, but there are some town halls that are pretty well targeted towards early career or other interesting topics that are could be of use. So networking skills, mental health, early career researchers within AGU. I'm not going to read out all of these, but you can see that throughout the week, there's going to be a few town halls targeted for early careers. Next slide. Receptions and section gatherings. So I think every section has a reception scheduled. They are Tuesday evening, and they all happen in like hotel ballrooms. So between the Marriott and the Intercontinental. And we were going to check if, I don't know if those hotels you can get to them directly from inside the conference center. You can certainly get to these hotels from the street level, of course, but they should be really easy to find. They will be mapped out for you at the conference, but every section, you might have a reception. These are just networking events. These are ticketed. We've been talking about this a lot lately, because if you do go to your registration page, you'll notice that these are mostly sold out. You can't actually get a ticket, but there's, I think, a few strategies here. You can show up to the event and ask to be let in. This is likely to be the case, or you might have to stand in line and just wait to see if there's room or people don't show up. But we're also learning that most sections should be requesting more tickets if they need them. So if you're really wanting to go to your section reception, maybe shoot an email to your section president or your section early career rep and ask if more tickets can be requested for these spaces. That's very doable. Next slide, please. Okay, networking events. These are also evening events, a couple days throughout the week, a couple over the lunch hour as well. So there's the Sunday, some of them are section specific, but I think open to all. Look for that word open to all. If you click on this event, it'll tell you whether you need to have reserved a ticket or if you can just show up and attend. And again, these events are all on the suggested itinerary, so you can easily find them if you're looking for them. These are great ways to meet people. A lot of people will be there for the exclusive purpose of meeting new people. So I highly suggest going to early career mixers, mentorship things, any kind of town halls or discussions are a great way to meet your community and your section members too. Next slide. More networking events. Okay, so there's a lot happening on Monday night, and then Tuesday night is also, or Tuesdays are also very busy with a lot of town halls and a lot of those section gatherings in the evening. So again, I won't read these out, but make sure you browse through the online program and select some events that you want to go to. Next slide. Wednesday and Thursday, things start to, I guess, slow down on Wednesday, but the meeting goes through Friday, so make sure you make the most of it. Again, a lot of these are section specific, but everyone is usually welcome. And if you're, kind of trying to find people to network with or to learn something new from, you can absolutely go to other sections events. So feel free to. Next slide. All right, lots of advice here. So if you've never been to a conference, a big conference like this one, it is a lot of walking. It is a huge conference center. You'll want to get there, kind of like when your first day in school, you want to walk your route for the day, like where are the classrooms, right? Like there's going to be different areas where different scientific sessions are taking place. There's the exhibit hall, there's there's ballrooms in the conference center. There's smaller presentation rooms. So get a feel for the layout and do some walking around so that you don't miss anything you know you wanted to go to, because they can be pretty far apart. There's plenty, you'll see a lot of people taking breaks, taking a seat either in the hallways, but there's also probably a lot of designated seating areas and rest areas throughout the conference center where you can plug in or you know, check your email or just rest. Lots of little places to meet in smaller groups as well. So there'll be like a map and a list, and of course look for maps in the convention center for places where you can kind of hang out if you need a break. Be ready to network. So an elevator pitch is a good thing to have in handy, practice something quick, you know, who are you, where are you from, what do you do? People will be handing out business cards, so that's something you can have. We might like to find before you come. Did anyone want to mention something specific about the workshop here, Alyssa? I don't know anything about that, but there's an upcoming workshop for this kind of thing. Stay tuned. There's so much content at this meeting that if you're, you know, for example, if you're tired of doing your hardcore science and you want to go into something more outside your field, so that you can be, there's going to be social science sessions, there's going to be, you know, more educational sessions, like anything outside your main subject area is a really fun thing to give your brain a little break from hardcore study. And we encourage you to explore a bit and learn a lot. Poster sessions are really fun. You can approach anyone at their poster and ask them to give you their spiel. That's what people are going to be doing if you're standing at a poster. So just feel free to go up to someone and say, hey, I'd like to just look at your poster for a moment. Or, hey, can you give me an overview of what you're doing? You know, whatever you want to do there. Poster sessions are really fun, lots of interaction. And you might want to look for colleagues that you're looking to meet or old friends that you want to meet up with. Good idea to plan that in advance. People are really busy. People are already saying, like, setting what lunches they want to do with which people on which days. So try to get in early and set some things up if you want to, or if you can. Always a good idea. Bring your reusable drinking containers. And the weather. So you'll definitely want a jacket. I think it's going to be like 60-ish maximum in December in San Francisco. Rain is always possible. And of course, conference center rooms, hotel rooms are always notoriously hard to predict whether it's going to be uncomfortably cold or uncomfortably hot. So wearing layers is a good idea. Next slide. The Moscone Convention Center is very nice. Come check it out early. As soon as you arrive, it's a good idea to register on Sunday if you get there, or, you know, check in on Sunday. I think you can also, I'm not sure, but some of the conference hotel rooms might have like remote check-in sites. You can look for that in your, if you're in one of the conference hotels. But there's a couple different buildings for the Moscone. So there's Moscone South, Moscone West, and I think Moscone North somewhere in there. But events will be taking place like across this landscape. So get your bearings when you arrive, take a look at the maps and all that, and ask for help. There'll be people you can just ask, where am I going? That's totally fine. Next slide. Okay, things to do for food. Of course, I would probably just go right to Google Maps if I was looking for a nearby restaurant to go to, somewhere really nearby. I've heard that the Westfield Mall food court is really easy to get to and usually not as crowded as some of the other like really nearby restaurants and things, but it shouldn't be hard to find coffee spots or meeting spots right near the convention center if you're trying to get out of the convention center. Restaurants nearby, I don't have any. If anyone has any recommendations or favorites, feel free to drop them in the chat now. I don't know if we have any locals here, but it's a city, so there's going to be tons of restaurants in any direction. Probably best to stay near the area or north of the convention center though. And San Francisco, big city, very fun city, tons to do. My memories of San Francisco, I think my favorite thing to do is the Fisherman's Wharf. I remember going to the Ghirardelli Chocolate Factory, super fun, highly recommend. Golden Gate Bridge, of course, national landmark, very nice park area, lots to do around there, the Presidio as well. Some of the, there's some things, farther away that it'd be more difficult to get to, but the bus system, Uber, taxi, all that can get you where you need to go. I think Golden Gate Bridge would be a little too far to walk to. You might want to group together and get an Uber or use public transit if you're confident. So next slide. International attendees, welcome to the US, welcome to San Francisco. There's lots of information for you on the AGU Fall Meeting website and the travel tab for how to get here. Make sure you've got your visa straightened out if you need that. Anywhere in the US, if you're having an emergency, you can dial 911 for emergency help. 311 will get you other kinds of information and assistance, but that's the number to remember. In the US, there's usually sales tax on most purchases. So if you're buying gifts or at a restaurant or whatnot, you'll see a sales tax applied to whatever the purchase, so the price that you see on an item is going to be taxed. So it'll be a little higher than that. You can expect that. And there might be also hotel tax added on to your bill. And good rule of thumb for tipping. If you're at a bar getting drinks, you'll want to, good rule of thumb is $1 per drink. Really easy to do. It's a good reason to bring cash around, but you can also easily sign that on your bill with your card or whatever you're using. Restaurants and taxis typically are expecting a tip. So that in those cases, it's 15 to 20%. Restaurants, especially if you're with a large group, make sure you check they haven't already added that tip to the bill. It'll say gratuity or, tip already added, or you might want, if you need to, you can ask the staff if they've added the tip or not, but they're expecting a 15 to 20% tip when you go to a restaurant. Next slide. Oh, yep, the Sunday reception. There's an international reception on Sunday evening, so check that out. Some final few links here if you're looking for more resources. There's a mentoring program. If you're interested in that, you can look there. FAQs are always handy. There's lots to browse through there, and a couple of blog posts that are gonna supplement anything you've learned here. They're not terribly old. They're still very useful and up to date. So check those out if you need. And that is all we have for you. And I think there's, time for questions. You can follow up directly to Alyssa or I. Any other section reps or students can put their email in the chat. Some sections have early career committees if you'd like to email the committee directly, but thank you so much for attending and listening. And Alyssa or anybody, if you want to add anything I missed.
Yeah, so I just got one thing to add from Josh at AGU. So we'll just mention the Science and Society section is not having a section reception dinner. It's actually going to be a lunchtime on Tuesday from 1 to 2 p.m. So that's the one section that is not having the dinner time section reception. It's going to be during lunch. And as Maddie mentioned, they are trying to increase the number of tickets that are available for these section receptions. So if you are interested in going, keep an eye out. There may be more tickets available. And as Maddie mentioned, you could also try reaching out to the head of the president of your section to ask if they have any extra tickets, or you could go to the event and maybe wait outside and see if people don't show up and you could get in.
These are super, I think we're stressing it because those are super fun events and a good way to meet your community. So if you're free Tuesday night or lunchtime for Science and Society. We would encourage you to try to get to those. They're fun.
Yeah. I mean, they're not essential. Like there's obviously many other networking opportunities, and some specifically for early career attendees, as we had in our slides. But you know, they're nice to go to if you have the time and you want to, but obviously you don't have to, or in any way. So these, as we mentioned, these slides will be available on the AGU23 website. So they're not posted yet. So if you are looking for them now, the slides are not currently posted, but they will be posted. So we will post that. Also, as I mentioned, this is getting recorded, and the recording I think is going to go on the AGU like YouTube channel. So you could also watch this back if you want to. Annie put in the chat, so she's the rep from the paleo section. Many sections have social media accounts, and so they, you know, follow them if you can. They're probably sharing things about their events at the fall meeting. Yeah, so look at agu-h3s.org. We will post the slides. Hopefully by tonight they can get them up. So, and feel free to, you know, if you know anyone else who is a first-time attendee to AGU or just a student or newer, feel free to send them the recording or the slides, because I think there's definitely a lot of useful information. Okay, looks like we have a question. So if I'm doing an in-person poster, do I need to submit it online or just physically bring it? So if you're doing an in-person poster, you do have to physically bring a poster. You can either print it out before you come to AGU and take it on the plane, or I'm sure there's places, I think there's even usually a place in the convention center where you can send the poster to them in advance and they print it out for you. Obviously there's going to be a cost associated with this, so ask your maybe advisor who would be paying for it. In-person presenter, so you do need a physical poster. You can also, if you want to, upload a like virtual version of your poster, so it'll be in the online poster gallery as well, but you don't have to do that. That's optional. Ben, who is the president of the AGU, the Atmospheric Science Section Early Career Committee, mentioned that it's super expensive to do the printing in the convention center, so it might be better to print at the FedEx near the Moscone Center. So definitely, if you're not going to bring your poster on the plane, probably look into these options in advance so you know where you're gonna print your poster from. Yeah, get your stuff in early for sure. So someone asked, what is the dress code, similar to GSA, or is AGU a little more fancy? I've never been to GSA. Has any of the other early career people? Like I can't compare it to that because I've never been, but
I would say it's more fancy, but like you do not have to be fancy. There's going to be all kinds of people dressing all kinds of ways there, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's really a variety at AGU, because it's such a big conference that you really see some people wear like jeans and like a Patagonia like top or whatever, and some people are really dressed up in like very business-y looking stuff. So it's kind of up to you. I mean, if you're a student and you want to make a good impression, I suggest maybe dressing up a little bit, like some business casual is a good move always. But it's kind of up to you because it really is whatever. And especially on a day that you're traveling. So I'm probably going to leave on Thursday. So I'll probably just wear like jeans and a sweater on Thursday because I'm going to be leaving that night. So, but definitely comfortable shoes, as we mentioned, comfortable shoes that you can walk miles in are essential. Any other questions? We have a couple more minutes until the hour is up. So please, if anyone has questions, put them in the chat. Someone asked, is there any online group or platform to stay in touch while traveling, or any other information needed as an international traveler? Does anyone have any insight on that?
The most information I found on, I mean, I'll drop the link in the chat, but there's The travel page has a section on international travel. There's some housing and travel deals, I guess.
Yeah, I think I would say the AGU website that Maddie put on there is a resource. I mean, if you have, I don't know what section you're part of, but any of the early career representatives or committees are happy to help people, with travel questions if you have them. Yeah, other than that, I guess maybe the AGU website is like the best thing I can put forward. Okay, last couple call for questions. Otherwise, as we mentioned, this recording will be posted. The slides are going to be posted on the H3S website. And we have put a lot of our contact emails on this last slide that I still have up. Heidi asks, how do I get the AGU app on my phone? Yeah, so the AGU app will not be available until closer to the meeting, but I think it just shows up in like the App Store if you have an iPhone or whatever the Android equivalent is. It will just show.
No? Okay.
I don't think it's probably not up yet for this year.
Right. The schedule isn't on the app yet, but I think this AGU events app is the platform. So you can already download that, I believe.
Okay. So the app probably exists, but it doesn't have the scientific program in it yet. So you'll probably have to update it anyway when you get closer to the meeting. I'm sure that information will be in an email from AGU when it gets closer about the app. Yeah. So it probably only has last year's info right now, but it'll get updated. Or you're probably going to have to update the app when it gets closer, and then this year's program will be in it. Yeah, no problem. Just about at the hour. So I think, as I mentioned, please, if you have any more questions, feel free to email either me or Maddie or any of the early career representatives or committees. And there's also AGU emails you can email with questions as well that we all put on here. That's a good point, Danica. Make sure you turn off data roaming if you do not have a US cell plan. If you're not using Wi-Fi and you don't have the US cell phone, it can get really expensive. So you don't want to get charged. Tried to sign up for flight school. I suggest you contact Rosa.
Yeah, go ahead and email me. I think I put my email in the chat earlier. And we can find out why.
Yeah.
There's an eligibility questions and screening, so there may be something around whether you are eligible or not to participate, and it kicked you out. But you can send me an email nonetheless.
Great. Yeah, so I posted her email again. If anyone has any questions about that program, please email her. I'm sure she'd be happy to answer. Let me stop my sharing. Okay, so I just want to thank Rosa and Lauren for coming. Their information was very helpful, and Maddie for hosting this with me, and then also all of the other early career reps and student reps who helped put together the presentation. Everyone was really helpful. So thank you, everyone, and we'll see you in San Francisco or virtually.
Feel free to say hi if you run into us at the meeting and tell us you saw us here.
Yes.
Okay.